How far would you go, really, to gain profound wisdom, to unlock secrets that could, truly reshape your understanding of the universe, or maybe even grant you power over cosmic forces? Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into an incredible legend from Norse mythology. We're talking about the fascinating god Odin and his legendary and, frankly, utterly extreme quest for the runes. Now, when we talk about runes, as you might know, we're not just talking about some ancient alphabet. The word rune itself, and, well, its relatives across the Germanic languages, it means both letter and secret or mystery. These weren't just symbols on a page. They were considered potent representations of really powerful cosmic forces, a complete magical system. So our mission today is to unpack the astonishing story of how Odin actually acquired these world-shaping symbols, and maybe what his radical sacrifice reveals about the ultimate pursuit of knowledge. You're about to hear about a 9-day ordeal. Well, it really tests the limits of dedication. So what's the key thing to grasp right from the start here?
That really sets the stage perfectly. Because the real intrigue here is that this tale is just so central to understanding Odin himself. He is, above all else, this relentless seeker, always after knowledge, after wisdom, and he's willing to sacrifice almost anything for that pursuit. I mean, his most obvious feature, right? The single eye. He already gave up the other one for wisdom. So this story, the one about the runes, it's another really powerful example of that unquenchable thirst he has, that drive to understand life's mysteries, and honestly, his unstoppable will.
Yeah, unstoppable is a good word for it.
And getting the runes, it wasn't like learning an alphabet, like learning to read or write. It was about uncovering this extraordinarily powerful magical system, a system that allowed someone to access and interact with and even influence the cosmic forces themselves. And that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay, and to really appreciate how interesting, we need to sort of picture the stage, right? The cosmos, where this all happens. So maybe for those who need a quick refresher, can you paint a picture of Yggdrasil, that great tree at the center of the Norse cosmos, and maybe tell us a bit about the important forces down at its base?
Absolutely. So right at the very heart of the Norse cosmos, you've got Yggdrasil, the immense world tree. Its upper branches are holding up Asgard, which, as you probably remember, is the home of the Aesir gods. Odin's their chief, of course. And then right down at the base of this massive tree, there's a pool. It's known as the Well of Erd. Now, this isn't just any old pond. Its depths are, well, fathomless, and they hold many of the most powerful forces and beings in the entire cosmos.
And among those powerful beings,
Yeah.
the Norns, right?
Yeah.
What's their role in all this, especially when it comes to runes?
Exactly, the Norns. There are 3 incredibly wise, let's call them maidens, who live right there in the Well of Erd. Their job, basically, is shaping the fates of all beings, gods, humans, everyone. And one of the main ways they do this is by carving runes into Yggdrasil's trunk. Once the symbols are carved, they carry the Norns' intentions throughout the whole tree, affecting everything, across all 9 worlds.
Wow. So Odin, sitting up high in Asgard, he's watching them do this. He sees their power, their deep wisdom, and clearly he wants it, he envies it. So he bends his entire will towards this, well, monumental task of learning these runes himself. But this kind of knowledge, these frankly fearful insights and abilities, they don't just reveal themselves easily, do they? They demand proof of worthiness.
Yeah.
But what was the truly unprecedented sacrifice he had to make?
And this is really the core of the myth, the absolute heart of it. Since the runes' home, their native place, is deep within that Well of Erd with the Norns, Odin undertook an ordeal that, well, it just defines his character. He hung himself from a branch of Yggdrasil, pierced himself with his own spear, Gungnir, and then peered downward into those shadowy waters below.
In the isolation, too, that's striking. He specifically forbade any other gods from helping him, right? Not even a drop of water.
Not a thing. Complete isolation. He just hung there, staring down, calling out to the runes, and he endured this terrifying state, literally teetering on the edge between life and death, for 9 full days and 9 full nights.
9 days and 9 nights, just hanging there, on that edge. That's a level of dedication that really makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
Yeah. It absolutely does. It's an incredibly intense image, almost hard to grasp. It's more than just a story. It feels like a testament, to the idea that real transformation demands this almost unfathomable level of personal commitment. But at the very end of that 9th night, the runes finally appeared. He perceived their shapes down there, in the depths. They had accepted his immense sacrifice. They revealed themselves, showing him not just their forms like letters, but the deep secrets, the magic that lay within them.
And so he fixed this profound knowledge in his, well, formidable memory, and ended the whole ordeal with a scream of exultation, apparently. The ancient poem, the Havamal, it recounts his own words. Then I was fertilized and became wise. I truly grew and thrived. From a word to a word, I was led to a word. From a work to a work, I was led to a work. So what did this incredible transformation actually mean for his power, his influence in the cosmos?
Well, with this new understanding, this mastery of how to wield the runes, Odin became one of the mightiest, most accomplished beings in the entire cosmos. Period. And it wasn't just about raw power like brute strength, it was mastery over every aspect of existence. He gained chants, spells that let him heal wounds, both emotional and physical ones. He could bind his enemies, make their weapons totally useless, free himself from any constraint, put out fires, expose and banish harmful magic. He could protect his friends in battle, even wake the dead.
Wake the dead.
Yes, and even win and keep a lover. Perform countless other feats. This knowledge truly gave him this holistic control, not just, hitting things hard.
Okay, so given how absolutely transformative this was for him,
Mhm.
where does this incredible story actually come from? And does that source shed any unique light on the sort of the how and why of his sacrifice?
Yeah, this profound tale comes primarily from the Havamal. It's an Old Norse poem found in the collection we call the Poetic Edda. And in this poem, Odin describes this whole shamanic initiatory ordeal with a really fascinating phrase. He says he was given to Odin, myself to myself. The Old Norse for that key part, given to Odin, is gefin ovieni.
Gifinouyane. And this phrase, it appears elsewhere, doesn't it? Like throughout the Eddas and sagas, often in the context of actual human sacrifices to Odin.
That's exactly right. In those accounts of human sacrifice, the victim, who was pretty much always of noble birth, was often stabbed or hung, or quite commonly both at the same time, which perfectly mirrors Odin's own ordeal on the tree.
Ah, okay.
It's a really profound link there, a mirroring between the god's act and human ritual.
So that means Odin's ordeal is essentially a sacrifice of himself, to himself. It makes it the ultimate Odinic sacrifice because, who could possibly be a nobler offering to the god Odin than Odin himself? Does the Havamal give us any more insight into why he'd sacrificed to himself? Was there maybe some kind of cost involved in this extreme act?
That's a really perceptive question. The poem definitely suggests that, yeah, a part of Odin survived the sacrifice to be its recipient, if you like, while another part of him did, in some sense, die. And this isn't just implied by the imagery of, death in those verses, but also by the imagery of rebirth and fecundity, fertility in the verses right after, where he talks about being fertilized and like a plant growing and thriving.
Ah, I see.
So it's not just a cost, maybe, but a powerful narrative of death and rebirth, achieved through this radical self-sacrifice, like the lower self is given up so the higher self can emerge.
When you read the Eddas and sagas, you definitely notice how accomplished, how self-possessed and inwardly strong many of the main figures are. Especially those most aligned with Odin people like Egil Skallagrimsson, Starkad, Sigurd, Grettir Asmundarsson. It sounds like Odin gained this ultimate power through his ordeal, but was there any kind of negative consequence mentioned? Did this extreme act have a downside? Did he become too powerful, maybe?
That's an interesting angle, but the stories don't usually frame it as a negative thing, like corruption or becoming too powerful. Not really. Instead, if we try to connect it to the bigger picture, it sort of suggests that maybe their strength of character, these heroes you mentioned, stemmed largely from Odin's example. These ancient songs told of a god who wasn't afraid to sacrifice what we might call his lower self to his higher self. And that's a really profound message, isn't it? About living according to your highest will, unconditionally, accepting whatever hardships come with that pursuit, and allowing nothing, not even the fear of death, to stand between you and achieving your goals. So it seems less about a cost in the negative sense, and more about the necessary crucible, the trial by fire for ultimate growth.
Right. So we've really unpacked this incredible journey Odin undertook to get the runes. We've seen how his, insatiable thirst for wisdom led to this ultimate act of self-sacrifice and just profound transformation. The big takeaway, it seems, isn't just about a god sacrifice long ago. Maybe it's a kind of blueprint for radical self-transformation even now. The idea that true growth often demands shedding the outdated parts of ourselves to embrace our highest potential. What does this tale inspire in you, thinking about the pursuit of knowledge or even your own personal growth?
Well, Odin's ordeal, it really isn't just some old myth, is it? It poses a pretty important question for all of us, I think. What aspects of ourselves are we willing to sacrifice, to let go of, to achieve our highest goals, or even just to gain a deeper understanding of the world around us? It's a stark reminder that profound wisdom, real insight, often comes at a significant cost, sometimes an internal one. And the real fascination here, for me, is how these ancient stories keep offering insights into human nature, into that timeless quest for meaning. They show us that true wisdom isn't just handed out freely, it's earned, earned through deep commitment and often a willingness to completely transform yourself.